Hello, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we are gathering to discuss Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Today, we are discussing the art of decision making. Those who have a book in hand or reading from a PDF, that happens to be the beginning of Chapter 8. Many things have been said by Napoleon Hill about the art of decision making, and this chapter in particular, it references mastering procrastination. And it's because procrastination, it's the opposite of a decision, and it is a common enemy that we all must tackle and we all must defeat. It is something that gets in our way and prevents us from success because we put off thinking. Yes, it's a killer, Walter. It is a killer. That's the best way to put it. It truly is the opposite of a decision. I mean, we can put examples of this every day. I'm going to start a blab for my business tomorrow. No, I'm not going to start it yet because it's got to be just right. I'm not sure if it's really the right venue for me, even though I haven't checked it out thoroughly yet. I've gone in once or twice. I'm going to put off. I really do want to do that blab once a week. And I was just in this conversation with somebody watching it happen. So what do you want to do? Well, I only want it to be 30 minutes, I think. Maybe. What do you think? Should it be an hour? Maybe if I do it for an hour, I mean, I'm walking her through this, right? And it's so annoying to me as the person. She's saying she wants to move forward with it. She has this great idea of putting on a blab once a week to grow her business and all this. And you know what? She's been thinking about it and putting it off for months. 4 months. And after I talked with her, I found out that, in all honesty, she does that with a lot of things in her business. Well, she hasn't started doing Facebook ads. I don't know enough. And if I learn a little bit more, then I'll be able to do Facebook ads. Okay, are you blogging yet? Yeah, I started blogging. But, every time I blog, it has to be just right. I'm such a perfectionist, right? So I'm just going to, now, really what my focus should be is increasing my customer base. But how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to do what works. And what works? See, that's our conversation, and I'm watching her, and she's struggling. And it's because she doesn't know how to make a decision. She's she's vacillating between one thing and another, and every excuse you can think of. But the big one is procrastination. She keeps putting it off because it's easier to put it off than it is to make a decision and possibly do something. I mean, it's just, I get it. I've been there, especially when it's something I'm not real familiar with, hesitancy. And yet, the more clear I am about where I'm going with my business, the easier it is to make quick decisions. Really, it is. So, any of you been stuck in procrastination? Any of you sitting out there listening to me who want to jump in, please do. Saying, oh, I know that feeling. If only. Better make a wrong decision than no decision. Sometimes, yes. But what's interesting is that I feel much more confident in making decisions and putting it into action today than I did a few years ago. And it's because I'm much more clear on the direction my business is going, so I can see the opportunity. Let's see here. Anyway, there is an axiom. Well, I guess I didn't write that down. My apologies. I was looking for some of the notes that I had written down. So according to Napoleon Hill, you master the ability to make a decision quickly and promptly. And to change your mind slowly. And that's something that, here it is. When you're ready to put into action the principles we have discussed to this point, you will have an opportunity to test your capacity to reach quick and definite decisions. And one of the hallmarks and commonalities, if you will, of successful people who have built fortunes greater than $1 million. Here's another one. This is straight from the book. Straight from the book. Right? Maybe not. My goodness. It's not scrolling for me. Hang tight here. So there's an analysis of the book, right? An analysis in the book. Hundreds of people who have accumulated fortunes beyond the $1 million mark all disclosed the fact that they had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing those decisions slowly. And it goes back to they're very clear on where they're taking their business. So not only am I able to see opportunity, now I'm able to say yes quickly because it matches who I am and where my business is going, because I became very clear on that. And I'm really glad that that's happening. I'm looking forward to that happening in a lot of different areas for myself. So yes, they say procrastination, you can't avoid it, but you have to live with it. No, that's funny. That's not true. And that's the whole point of the principle that we're talking about, the art of decision making. And it is an art, and it requires that we master procrastination. I like this quote, if you will. This is a quote of Napoleon Hill straight from the book. It says, if you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. And it comes from most of the people out in the world who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs, and in many cases in today's world, sufficient for our wants. Let's go beyond needs. We have our needs taken care of. Now we have our wants, and we're all whining. Who's whining out there that I'm not getting what I want? I can't have the fun that I had hoped to have. I can't do this. I can't do that, right? Well, Napoleon Hill says that the majority of those people who have failed to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally influenced very easily by the opinions of others. What he means by this, and he clarifies, he says they permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. I love this quote. It says, opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. If you are influenced by opinions when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less in that of transmuting your own desire into money. Oh, I like that, Walter. In short, don't let the dogma of others drown your inner voice. That's a good way to put it. And the idea here is that I understand. All right, let me put it this way. I understand the idea. To what extent do we need to be aware of what's happening in the world and how that affects our business and our decisions? I say that because if my financial well-being is dependent on on NASDAQ, the U.S. stock market, and I see a 500, 600 point drop and no correction, when does panic start? I think it's a little different than what Napoleon Hill is telling us. Come on in, Matt.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you're working in an industry, you should know what's happening in your industry.
Yes. Like
globally or nationwide.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think what he's telling us is that, I have my inner circle that I can go to bounce ideas off of, when I don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But the more solid I am and clear on the path that I'm headed, on the end goal, on the direction I want to go, it becomes easier to make decisions more promptly. It takes practice. That's something that I've reflected on. It takes practice to make them quickly, to test the waters that I only have 80% of the information, but it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's do it now.
Pick reliable sources of news and information too. Like, you got to be careful where you get your news sources, because
there we go with the gossip and the opinions, right?
Yeah. It's one thing to listen to factual resources about what's going on. It's another to go to your friends or people all the time, because it's not always the most reliable source of information, because you got to find people that are on it in terms of the facts. There's a lot of opinions. There's like a quote from somebody, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, there's the laws of physics in the universe, and then everything else is opinion.
That's it. There's the laws of nature, and then everything else is opinion. Yes, that's it. And now opinions that I seek out, I think, are different than those that are unsolicited.
Mm-hmm.
And learning who, there's a old phrase that I learned many, many, many years ago that comes into play, I believe, here. Let me know if this resonates. And that is that first you learn to listen, then you listen to learn, and then you learn who to listen to. And I think that is part of growing up and being able to stand on your own 2 feet. And I think that's appropriate for here. Dina's asking, this thing really made me think. Trying to understand the link between lack of finances and being influenced by opinions of others.
Well, let's say you get an email, right? And the email is like, oh my gosh, you can make this much money if you do this. And if you listen to that and it's a scam and you follow that email,
you're not capable of making decisions.
Yeah.
I don't think the capacity to make quick decisions and proper decisions is directly related to your current financial situation. Meaning that if I'm in dire straits when it comes to being influenced by others and the opinions rather than seeking counsel. So seeking counsel is different than just asking your opinion. I go to Matt and I say, so Matt, I'm going to be putting out this new ebook. Here's the title. What do you think? Mm-hmm. That's an opinion. Because all I'm giving you is a title, right? That's all I'm giving you. Let's let Anne-Marie in here. And that's it. I'm not giving you the ebook to read. You're not cognizant or experienced in that particular market. You don't know diddly squat about competitive intelligence, but I'm going to do, Matt, I'm going to publish an ebook called CI 101. I'm going to do a series, Competitive Intelligence, the Internet Way. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an opinion. It's a preference. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I go to a fellow information professional who has experience in competitive intelligence, I can tell you right now, the first thing she's going to say is, what do you mean by the Internet way? How deep do you go? Who's your market? Because not everybody's going to understand, what you're saying.
And those are the facts. She's asking factual questions.
Right, because she has experience in that particular industry. She is actually the one I'm thinking of, is an expert in that particular service. Well, Anne-Marie, nothing's coming through, so I'm going to kick you out and ask that you try again. I'd be happy to have you in here. But all I'm getting is the black screen there.
The other thing I thought about, too, is if you're constantly trying to make everybody happy, it's never going to work. And that's part of, if you're listening to everybody, like I just posted, if you're always listening to others' opinions all the time, you're going to be changing decisions sporadically all the time to try to make everybody happy. And that doesn't work.
Yeah, you do have that. But also what it does is that it, now here's why you would do that, honestly. is because that becomes the excuse for you to procrastinate.
Yeah.
Look at it that way. Let's look at it as, I'm not going to do everything you're telling me, but I'm going to wait until enough people tell me that this is the right way to go before I do something. You know?
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter who
Yep.
I'm asking, but oh my gosh, I've already asked 50 people and we're still at 25. I'm going to have to ask
I'm
some
gonna
more.
wait until
Can you
I
see
have to
this is
wait
the
until
art of procrastination happening here? A way to make the excuse that I'm just not going to make the decision. And actually, you know, some people are fond of saying, well, by not making a decision, you've actually made a decision. And yes, in a sense, I am going to put a statement in there that says doing it that way may be making a decision, but it puts no control in your hands, and it keeps you in the ping pong of what do I do next? How do I do next? You know, nothing I do is right, and you'll spiral downward, and nothing will get done. You still haven't learned how to actually make a decision. And I see it. Like this gal I was talking to. I've been thinking about doing a blab. How long you been thinking? And it ends up, how long you been thinking about doing this? Oh, for quite a few months. You can't do that. How many? And I should also add into this. How many blabs have you been on? Well, I've only been on 2, but I want to do one of my own. All right, jump right in and do it. Oh, I can't. No, I can't do that. That's why I'm asking you. When should I start? Now. But I need to have the see. So, but why are you coming to me? Well, because you've been doing it for so long. You know how to do it. Yes, I do. So why aren't you starting now? See, she was looking for, you know, she was looking for somebody else to make the decision for her. And then when it was, when the answer wasn't what she wanted, it was an easier, I'm going to have to put it off because not enough people are saying that.
It might be just a fear of standing out or a fear of failure in general because, well, it's like, I love the analogy. If you do something and you fail and you fall forward, you still made progress when you fell. So
that's
part of it is just
you have to
do it. You have to.
So this is where I'm going to interject. Yeah, well, I'm going to interject that he's saying that up till now, these are building principles upon principles, right? We all know this, that we've already gone through the first 6 principles, and one of those was the mastermind group. So if you're coming in with the idea that just today, based on who I am, without having read any other part of the book, then this isn't going to make much sense. That, well, how can I walk away today and be able to make decisions promptly? So I'm remembering that part, that we have to remember this. When I began really relying on that inner circle and the mastermind group I've been a part of, I've only been a part of this particular group for a short time, but it's been long enough that failing feels better now, because I no longer feel like it's just me out on a limb here. I no longer feel like, when you feel like it's just you, that, or I did. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just letting you know how I think and how I feel. It's just me out here. I don't have anybody like has my back. I'm doubting what's happening and I'm jumping in, but I'm not sure that what I'm doing is correct. Not sure where to go for answers and all of that. Then the failure was even bigger. It's a bigger deal to fail when you walk in like that. See, I didn't know how to make decisions promptly, right? Mm-hmm. So now that I'm in a position of being surrounded by people that I feel like have my back, I have people with their experiences and knowledge that I can go to that I don't know the answers to, and feel more confident in making my decisions. I'm clear on where I'm going. All these things are coming into play. Then it's okay to fail. And I can say that it's okay to fail. But we have to learn how not to procrastinate first, and how not to do some things, right? So Dina, I'm seeing over here, is what she doesn't get is how Napoleon Hill is associating lack of finances with being influenced by others. Okay, well, in the book, he says, let me go to the beginning of that chapter. Hold on here. The majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of others. They permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. So it's beyond influence in nudging. It is, I am going to put off making the decision myself because you can make it for me. You know?
Well, it's like if you always want to keep up with the Joneses, right? And you always want to have the newest thing and the newest fad, it's easier to go to a list of top 10 things and just say, okay, I'm going to buy the thing number 1 on this list. There we go. I'm done. Instead of actually educating yourself on what product is reliable for you to use, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's
so there
it.
you go. It's like you just let life kind of drive you around instead of taking the wheel.
That's it. And it's a way to avoid making decisions, which keeps you down. You know, it's, again, it's seeking counsel based on what it is that you want to, where you want to grow, what you want to learn, how you want to move forward.
Yeah.
There's decisions I've made with my business I've sought counsel on, huge expenditures. And I was putting off making the decision because it was going to be a big check that was going to be written. And so I sought counsel and talked about it a little bit and saw very clearly that the ROI on the expenditure was well worth to go ahead and step in. And so that one I had, it wasn't a quick decision in terms of days, meaning that I saw the opportunity and I jumped right on it within an hour. But it was a quick decision in terms of I wouldn't have done it a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I would have been frightened by the expenditure. Instead, this time I sought counsel of someone with experience and knowledge I didn't have to flesh it out for me, what a return might look like. And within days, literally, I just wrote the check. I said, okay. So within days, instead of waiting a year or two or putting it off, right?
Mm-hmm. You found the experts in the area and talked to them because they have more of that knowledge of that field.
So that's seeking counsel. Here's being influenced by opinions. So Matt, I'm getting ready to write a check for $12,000. And yeah, it's in my field, but I'm a little nervous about doing it. What do you think?
Yeah, you shouldn't do it because you're nervous. You shouldn't do it. That's what I see it.
Yay! No. Okay.
And then yeah.
That's all I was looking for.
Yeah. And there's no evidence you explain to me behind that. If I'm not knowledgeable in that field, I don't know what the issue is. I'm not.
Yeah, but boy, it sounds like a lot of money. I wouldn't be spending that, right?
Yeah. All right, I have to hop out now. I have to hop out now, but it is like, I like his point about you have to make decisions promptly, but you also have to change them slowly. Like you have to make the decision and do the thing long enough so that you understand how it works. Then you can adjust. If you make a decision immediately, you're not going to understand how the decision changed and helped you.
Correct. That's it.
That's my last point.
Thank you. Very good one. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you having your opinions. Absolutely. I appreciate them. Viewpoints. Right. Greatly appreciate
perspective. All right.
Have a good day.
See you around. You too.
So welcome to all those that I don't know that have come through. It's good to see you. Adapting Social, do you have a name? Would love to call you by your name if you have one. Anybody else want to jump in and talk about the art of decision making? There's great value in being able to make decisions and reach your decisions promptly, and change them slowly. See, the difference is that what I'm seeing is the difference between those who accumulate wealth and those who don't is that they know what they're looking for. Okay, they know where they're headed. Hello. Welcome.
How's it
going? I'm good. And your name?
My name is John.
Hi, John. Welcome. So what do you think of the art of decision making?
Well, I love the book Think and Grow Rich.
Good.
Decision making is everything. I'm a small business owner, and making decisions on the cuff. Every decision making is everything. It leads you to where you want to be, or either where you don't want to be. It's both. So it's everything in life and in business.
So, have you had struggles with procrastination, or
of course,
when you see others that are procrastinating?
Well, me myself, I'm somebody who I pride myself on being, somebody who's not really going to be a procrastinator because I've done it my whole life. So that when I started my business, I promised myself I wouldn't be that person, but I do struggle with it, and I think everybody does. It's just a matter of overcoming it. It's not easy. I see a lot of my clients. I own a marketing company, by the way, but I see a lot of my clients say it's the same situation. They want certain things in life. They want to be, have the best year of their life, but they don't do what they have to do to get there, which is the procrastination, the laziness, and all that stuff.
Right. So what happens?
Well, it's either they're gonna keep doing what they do and skim by life, or they get their asses up and start moving.
That's it. Either things happen or they don't. You're going forward or you're going backward. That's one of the things I love about this book, is that we're building on those principles of what successful people have in their lives, how they live their lives, and how they approach doing business. And we're now to chapter 8, which is the 7th principle of decision making, or mastering procrastination. And you just said it. If you're not able to if you don't have the capacity to reach decisions quickly, it's indicative of your lack of knowledge in your own industry, or lack of knowledge and security in knowing this is where I want to go. Because the more clear I am on my end goal, the easier it is for me to see an opportunity, but it's also easier for me to make the decision as to whether or not that opportunity aligns with where I want to go.
Right.
What do you think?
Exactly.
I love it when people agree with me. Thank you, John.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more fun when they don't, though. It's more fun when they don't and say, no, I don't get that. Or I don't see it quite that way.
Debating is fun. But that's why I kind of live my life off 3 letters, KSE. K is knowledge in my industry and what I'm going to be doing, the business, learning inside out. Then forming a strategy on what I'm going to do, and then execution. So that kind of goes back off of what you're saying. So that's big. That's big for me.
Well, I'm taking it, just so you know.
There you go.
Knowledge.
It's trademark.
Strategy.
John Vergara, Adapting Social.
And execution.
Absolutely.
By John. What's your last name, John?
It's Vagueiro.
Yeah, easy for you to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Vergara.
Vergara. Okay. Yeah. Terrific. Good stuff. Good stuff. Absolutely. So let's see here. Hold on. I need to get rid of this. I want to get this other one up here because, here we go. Because it does speak to the ability and capacity to reaching a decision promptly. All right, CBC development team. Hope you have a name.
Hello.
Hello, do you have a name?
Yeah, my name is Rick.
Okay, Rick. So what are your thoughts on the art of decision making?
How are you doing, Adapting Social LLC?
Yeah, I'm John, by the way. Yeah, I have my business.
So John, decision making, in real estate, a lot of people missed the boat recently because they were worried about what their family would say about overpaying for real estate that was on an upward swing, and so they missed the boat.
Oh my gosh, this is a perfect example. Go, go, go. Yes, keep going, Rick.
Exactly. So, you just got to ignore that, and you got to do what you know is the right thing. And that's what happened. I mean, people missed the boat this time around.
Okay, so the question I have for you is, you're talking in generalities, and when I like to talk specifics, because in Morning Mindset, this is how we get our day started, talking in specifics. Okay? So you're saying that, so there's a lot of people that miss the boat on an opportunity to snatch up quality real estate because people who had opinions, not knowledge, who had opinions were saying it's you're wasting your money. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have enough anything. I don't know what are they saying, but anyway, so the people aren't doing it. Give us a little more detail of what that looks like. Why would I miss the boat?
That looks like somebody waiting to buy their second home, their first investment property for decades, because they don't want to be that person who overpaid for a house, and you just got, you gotta pull the trigger on that, and
so let's explore that just a little bit of what it means to pull the trigger, because again, now sometimes if I am looking at for the first time investing in a piece of property,
right.
What can I do to overcome the procrastination? What will help me to pull the trigger?
Be willing to be embarrassed and make the mistake of getting, okay. You might make a mistake and overpay for a property. Some people are so frozen with the
so you're saying the whole focus is that I should wait so I can get it cheaper?
No, you should not wait. You should make a mistake, fail, and then learn from it, because then you'll have first-hand experience. And also, if you put in an offer and then you're in escrow, then then it becomes real, and then you're really going to learn about real estate after that. So,
I think
my
opinion on that. I'm actually an investor. I invest in flipping properties. I have a couple income rental properties. In my marketing firm, I work with a lot of contractors, so I had that connection. For me, being 24 years old and doing all this stuff, not knowing, just getting my feet wet in it, I see that, my first couple of properties I did that. I just jumped in and I made those mistakes. I think that the better option would be to, like, if you if you see a property that's worth it, like that's in foreclosure, for instance, at $100,000 discount because it's in foreclosure, that's something you don't think twice about, especially if that proproperty, if you can buy the house.
Yeah, but hold on a second. I'm a new investor, and what Rick is saying is that I'm going to procrastinate because it's an excuse not to jump in. Because it's an embarrassment. I could lose money. Maybe I think I have more to lose than you do. I don't know. I'm uncertain. So I'm going to allow that to keep me from making that decision and just jumping in. So one way, I think, and tell me if I'm incorrect here, one way to remove that uncertainty is to seek counsel from someone who knows. So I could go to Rick. I could go to somebody like John who has the experience, who has the knowledge that I don't, to say, this is what I want to do. And that way, the first time I have the security of somebody else's knowledge that puts me forward and I do it. Then I have the experience and I can move from there. Maybe that's all somebody needs, is just to seek counsel.
Yeah. But the main thing is just to stop worrying about someone else's opinion of your value.
Bingo. You are absolutely spot on.
Anybody else, who cares? It's your life. So
that's going to hold you back. So, oh man, I lost my train of thought. But
that's okay, because you're right. The primary thing here is, and what this chapter is talking about in procrastination, is that we're allowing we are saying to ourselves when we're practicing procrastination that what Rick is saying and John is saying is more important than the way I see I need to go. So I'm not going to do anything until they're in agreement with me, or maybe I'm going to seek out all these other opinions. Go ahead.
I got it. It's the waiting for the perfect thing. People are waiting for the perfect house. They're waiting for the perfect investment. It's not going to be perfect. You wait for the perfect girlfriend. You wait for perfection. You're going to miss out. So you got to take it, as they say, warts and all.
So perfection is, there's Sabrina. Sabrina, what was that? I had a quote. It was awesome. The one time I actually had I said something somebody wanted to make a meme out of. It was awesome, but I don't remember it.
I got a fortune cookie one time that said, if you wait for the perfect moment will pass you by.
Well, you're not going to recognize the perfect moment.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, how can you? Yeah, Sabrina, thank you, because I think it fits, doesn't it, Sabrina? And that's
the best room I've been in, the best blab room I've been in. And I've only tried this for a day so far. And, this is good. You guys are actually talking about some useful stuff here. I like this.
Yeah, that's kind of the point here. So welcome. Glad you're here, Rick. Hope you come back.
Thank
Every
you.
weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we are here. Been doing this
Okay.
since August, and we'll continue unless technical difficulties occur.
Right on. All right.
And so, yeah, that's the point here is we want to take away something actionable, maybe something new, maybe a way to change our way we're seeing something, learn something, share what our experiences are so that we feel confident in our own path that we're taking towards accumulating wealth. We're not going into the details of how to accumulate the wealth. What we're talking about is the book Think and Grow Rich, so that we have the ability to handle it when we get it. And we can be better people as we move forward and study the principles and put those in our life. So the principle of decision making and replacing that habit of procrastination with proper decision making is of great value, as John said. It's of great value in life as well as in our decision making with businesses. Because honestly, we're the ones making the decisions, right? If we're the owner, we're the ones making the decisions. It's up to us. And the longer we wait, the more we're going to fail, quite honestly. Procrastination will kill a business quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, two things. Number one, where are you guys from?
I am coming out of Louisville, Kentucky area.
Very nice.
San Francisco, California.
Oh, nice. I'm out of
Where are you?
New Jersey.
Excellent. So we're all covered. So John and I will be hunkered down in our blizzard conditions in warm houses with our coffee and our lunches while Rick goes outside and enjoys the vitamin D sunshine and and says it's a good place to be, right? Yes. So again, what I find interesting, what I love about this book is that Napoleon Hill studied this. These are not his opinions. That's what I love. He says that an accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who experienced failure disclosed the fact that it was lack of decision.
Yep.
It was sitting and waiting. It was asking too many people who didn't have any knowledge of what you wanted. It was not knowing. I think that's where it bases. Rick and John, I'm going to ask you, when you began your businesses, whatever they were, did you have a clear idea of where you wanted to go? You had a goal in mind. Even if it was 90 days, you had a goal in mind that this is what I was going to do, what I was going to offer, and what I want it to look like.
Yep. And then they change over time. Your goals change over time. I took a sociology class in which I saw the stratification hierarchy in America, and at the top 0.5% were the inheritance/investors. And so I said I wanted to get up in there, in the top. I mean, if I have an opportunity to be at the top 0.5%, then I'm going to do that.
Okay. So now then you knew where you wanted to go.
Exactly, yeah.
Then you had to make decisions about how you were going to learn to get there. Did you have existing knowledge, or did you have to seek it?
Yeah, some, but then it became more targeted when I saw that that ladder. That you have to be the investor, the guy who's putting his money in, and then you got to be willing to do two things. You got to be willing to take on the responsibility and the debt, which is what a lot of people don't want. They don't want debt. They don't want responsibility. And that's what you need to be as
you are
as
so
an
nailing it. Yes. Because it's even if they're willing to take debt, they're not willing to take the responsibility. And that is the issue with procrastination. Because that's saying that, you see, if you're telling me your opinions and I'm doing things based on what the news is saying and based on what this group, see, I don't know you two. But there are people that will use a blab session like this as their little mini mastermind group. Well, I'm going to come to you two because you say that you've been in business a while. I don't know a squat about you. But go ahead and tell me, should I move forward with what I'm doing in my business? And we're going to spend 30 minutes together.
Depends what it is. What are you going to do?
No, I see people do this, and I see them walk away, and they're still coming back to other people saying the same thing and asking the same questions. Because they're seeking opinions that keeping them from making the decision. You see?
Yeah, they shouldn't be asking another person.
We just met, Rick. I don't know you. I don't know. For all I
Yeah,
know,
why are you asking me? I'm like, okay.
you
Sure, go
know,
ahead.
yeah, exactly. You can ask me anything you want. I'll give you an opinion all day long. You know, if you're
It's all about
digging enough.
the experience, though. It's all about the experience. When I first started my company, I had no idea where I was going to be, but I paved that foundation and I kept going. And now, after going through the struggles, the tribulations, a couple failures, now I know exactly where I'm going, where I want to be, and I have everything already set in stone. On my business, nobody can tell me anything about my business because I learned it, I understand it, I have the knowledge, I have a strategy, and I execute on that. So at first, I didn't know any of that, though, and I didn't have a plan at all, to be honest with you. Originally, I was going to school to be a chemical engineer. I stopped going, and then I started a marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me how that works, but the whole plan changed, and here I am now. It's the best thing I ever did in my life.
Well, one of the things we learn, all right, so I got to get my quote out. Okay, this is the one and only time Charlene's going to do the woohoo. She actually made a quote somebody wanted to remember and do something. Perfection is the thief of action and success.
Oh, yeah.
That. And it comes. Sabrina had created a little nice image that goes with it. But so perfection is the thief of action and success, and that's what we were talking about. Perfectionism stopping us and being that procrastination is how it's manifested. We think perfection, and our activity says, well, we're just not going to do anything, right? So how can you succeed if you do that? You can't. So the other thing is that the road to accomplishment, to achieving the goal, to achieving what we've set out isn't a straight line. Would you agree with that, Rick? Because that's what John just described. You set out to do one thing, and then something else came in and said, this is even better. I need to be going here, but I'm not sure what to do just yet. So now I'm going to, right?
Are you saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not saying either.
She's just saying.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. That is not it.
Most people think it's this, and it's really
takes longer. Yeah, takes longer.
Takes longer than you think it's going to. What do you think?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yes, and I thought you were getting to the point that in order to get rewarded for something, you have to be the master at it. So you have to be able to stick with it for like 10 years, at least, or something like that.
Stick with it for the long haul.
Like a lot of people like hopping from major to major or profession to profession, because when you're new at something, you get a lot of pats on the back.
Love this. Mm-hmm.
And when you're 10 years deep into something, you're expected to have a certain level of
music thing. You got to do
Okay, good, excellent, Rick. And I say that because having been a business owner now for many, many years, I don't get the pats, I don't get the accolades, I don't get the woohoos, I don't get the.
It's expected, right?
You're supposed to know what you're doing. And then what happens is, suddenly I'm an overnight success, right? Because all these years now of putting the effort in, suddenly, hey, I'm known for something. And I get that now is, well, how awesome is that? It's like, really? No, this is like an extension of the business. So it's
the best quote that I've ever heard was, work a few years like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life.
Yes.
Like most people.
Yeah, I love Dave Ramsey. Yes. Yeah, exactly, Roy. It only took me 10 years to be an overnight success. Yeah. Hi, Ralph. Welcome. Meet Rick and John, new to the program.
Good morning. Good morning. Dave Ramsey says do what you, today what no one else will do, so you can live like no one else lives tomorrow.
Right.
Absolutely.
Paraphrasing that. That's.
Well, the other one that I like is, what is it? Spending money I don't have to impress people that I don't know, to have things that I don't want.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, Coach Jenny, that's funny. This is your year 10, so you're ready for your overnight success. Hey, works for me. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So what do you think, Ralph?
Well, always, and actually I hit check in by accident and having some technical issues this morning, but the conversation is always good. That's the art of decision making. When you have the strong enough whys, and have a clear vision, the decisions are a lot easier to make, you know,
Yes.
than just going blindly.
That's true. That's true. And that's what we learned in those initial principles of being able to clearly define what it is we're looking for. I like what Rick said, was that he saw that in one of his classes. He saw that ladder and those at the top. This is what they did. So that's what he set his sights on. And my understanding is that you can just walk out and say, well, okay, so I'll begin investing now. I have this much money and I'm going to invest over here. You had to learn a little bit about what that means, right?
But Coach Jenny, her comment about she's been doing this for 10 years, she's waiting for it. Sometimes I think when we don't take time to pause and see where we're truly at. We talked about this, I think, yesterday, the day before, you know, being on that road. Sometimes we are so in our where we are.
In the now?
In the now. We don't see how much road has been behind us and where we are today, you know, and yeah,
it's always good to have checkpoints and, you know, check in with those that are part of your inner circle and what have you.
The check, and you might be ready to be there.
Yeah, it could be. Now, wouldn't that be interesting?
You're right.
John, are you going to have to take off, dear?
Yeah, so I head to a meeting. It was
Okay.
a pleasure meeting you guys. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Yeah, come back in all next week, 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Absolutely. Followed all you guys, so I hopefully get to talk to you again on here.
Okay. Glad you were here, John.
Absolutely. See you guys later.
So we have another 10 minutes till the top of the hour for the recording. Anybody want to jump into the live stream and join the discussion about the art of decision making? How to handle procrastination? Are you wrestling with something now and realizing that you are actually procrastinating because you don't want the responsibility of having made the decision? Because Rick brought that up, which I thought was pretty cool. Good point, that sometimes we don't want the debt that comes with it in a business decision, and sometimes we simply don't want the responsibility of having made the decision. Hi, Roy.
Morning, Charlene and Ralph, and I'm sorry, CBC
Rick.
name? Rick. Okay, I'm going to write that down. You know, you
He's
can
new
add
to
that.
Blab.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome. So, yeah, I can answer the art of decision making, and it is an art. But I do sprinkle in a little bit of science because I can. And so I'm the type of person that says I'm turning over every rock necessary to make this decision, easy or difficult. And then I'll turn over 3 more rocks just for good measure. Otherwise, I won't be satisfied. So very analytical. And yes, usually when I pull the trigger, I hit the target. Because most people go ready, aim, fire. Not me. I go ready, aim again, aim some more. Yes. Make sure I go back and aim, you know, that everything I was aiming is exactly where it's supposed to be, then fire. Complete opposite of my wife, who says, fire. What do you mean I got to aim?
Yeah, and we'll catch up later, right?
That's right. And she loves doing that. And I'm okay with that because my first wife was like that as well. So I was prepared for that. And so I said, yeah, I can do that. So she'll invest more money to get things done because she'll do them 2 and 3 times. Whereas I will say, can't do that. But I let her be her.
But you're still getting things done. You're still making decisions. And that's the whole point of what I'm hearing and what I'm getting out of this is that we may have our own way of approaching the decision, but we will make the decision. It is not a method of procrastination. It is not looking for perfection. It is, even if you're going 3 and 4 aims deep, Roy, sometimes you still have to make the decision based on 80% of the information.
Oh, true. Absolutely.
But you're able to because you've put forth the effort the way you work. You've put forth the effort to find what needs to be found, and that's enough. All right, now I can pull the trigger. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Terrific.
I you know, when people ask me, Roy, have you any regrets? And the first time I was asked that, I thought to myself, I don't. And that was like in my 20s, right? So now that I'm in my late 50s, I still don't. Because I'm very calculated. And I don't make decisions on a whim. And if I do, I'm okay with the consequences, even if they don't turn out to be the best, and I still don't regret them. Is that narcissistic, or do you guys even believe that?
No, I fully understand that, because honestly, I take responsibility for the decisions that I've made.
Me too.
Therefore, and one of the things that I've learned, and Ralph and Rick and Roy, tell me if this resonates with any of you. One of the things, and I'm about ready to lose my train of thought. Well, that was fun. And so we're going to have more coffee. Yeah, we are. We're talking about decision making, procrastination, regrets. Every time that I've made a decision, one of the reasons I don't have regrets is I know for sure that every time I made a decision, it made sense at the time.
Yes.
And I think that that's one thing that can help with tackling a habit of procrastination. Is in some instances, in my case, I would procrastinate because I'm approaching a similar situation I had before, where I had made a bad decision and it didn't work. And I lose confidence in my ability to make a decision. So what I've learned is that if I can look at every instance where that's occurred as it made sense at the time, this is a different time, I can make the decision and take the responsibility for it. I have more confidence. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Guys?
Personally, the art of decision making, it's easier for me to decide when it's a decision that is within vision or a plan that I have. Because if I know the plan, I know there's things that I need to do, if they're unpleasant or not. Sometimes you just gotta, take the action and do them. But it's harder for me to make a decision when there's something that is outside the plan, outside of my goal. When something comes up that really is not going to affect, my goals, my dreams, my plans. Making that decision sometimes is I become more procrastinating on events like that. When you have that clear focus, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. But still, even if I'm clearly focused on where I want to end up, and my why is bigger than my button, and I'm, I really, really want this, I can hit a small wall that makes me hesitate because I've been here before. I lost a lot of money when I invested in something like this. Could be in training, could be in continuation of education. It could be new products or service or adding on new tools or something like that. I mean, something as simple as that can sometimes trip people up. Little things is what I call them, but they're a big thing to somebody who's going to spend $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 to move their business forward. Well, the last time I did that, so again, my thinking is that if we're able to look at that and honestly say that the reason I made the decision at that time was because it made sense for that time, the way I made that decision, this is a different time. It's done worlds of wonders for me. And say it's really been of great help to me. I just wanted to throw that out in case it might be helpful to somebody listening. Any thoughts, or want to go back to anything that's been talked about regarding the procrastination and the way Napoleon Hill's putting it out there?
Well, I have something to add to that, but I want to see if Rick has something to add first.
Nope.
Okay.
So I love what you said about making the best decision at that time, right? Because when it comes time to make a decision, how much time do you give yourself to make that decision? So sometimes if you have a deadline, you have to make it within that deadline. But if it's a decision that there's no deadline, then for me, I'm going to make it when I'm done turning over the rocks. Now, based on something like that, saying I have no regrets is exactly that, because that was the best decision I could make at that time. So a couple of one-liners that fit that: do the best you can, right? And when you know better, do better. And that's something you alluded to as well. It's like, I've been here before, and the last time I made this decision, that happened. So this time you're making a better calculated risk, so to speak, or decision. But here's the thing that really grabs me. When I first learned this was a game changer for me. So when I first meet someone, I like to kind of mix things up a little bit and tell them that, here, I want you to know this about me. So Charlene, pretend like we're meeting for the first time. How would you respond if I said something like this? So Charlene, I want you to know this about me. I never, ever, ever will change my mind.
I'm happy for you. Don't understand it, but happy for you.
Right. And most people don't understand what I mean. And some people call me narcissistic and arrogant and all those things. But then I come behind them and say, look, I'm never going to change my mind, but there's the little but word, right? You just wipe out what you just said. But I will make a new decision based on new information in a heartbeat. So if you, whoever you are, and you want to change my mind because you know I'm thinking about something or have a decision about something that is not in line with you and the way you believe and or think, all you have to do is give me new information that I don't yet have, and I will make that new decision. That way it's easier for my ego.
But Roy, what I like about what you said is that we can apply this to ourselves by reaching decisions quickly and changing them slowly, because waiting until we have all of the information, waiting until we've experienced all that needs to be experienced before making a different decision to go in a different direction. In response to the first one, it's not working out so well. Maybe it wasn't the best decision. It was at the time, but now that we're into it, now that we're doing this, now that the business isn't growing the way we had thought it would, customers aren't responding the way we thought they would, I'm not feeling really good about it now. Let's look for some more information to see which direction we need to take.
Amen. Exactly that. Okay. And so another way of saying that is you cannot steer a parked car.
Correct.
Start driving. I don't care if it's 5 miles an hour or 50, right. Because once you're moving, once you have that forward momentum, now you can make the necessary course corrections, and you won't know which one to make until you get to it. So just standing there trying to ponder, what if in 10 miles, what if in 100 miles, there is no pondering necessary. Start driving. You will know.
You're on the path. Exactly. Love that.
You're moving.
Thank you, Roy. All right. So we are at the top of the hour, and that means hard stop so that I can stop the recording. And then I'll keep the room open for another 30, 40 minutes, depending on how the conversation goes. So I want to thank everybody who's joined me in the live stream and participating. It's been terrific having you here. Thank you, those in the comment section, for adding your views and perspectives in the comment area and adding to our discussion today. For those watching the replay, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you with us. My name is Charlene Burke, and I'm with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.